The Gilson Porta-Screens are rugged, lightweight portable screen shakers that are designed for efficient particle separations of materials in the 2-inch to number 16 range, but can effectively process materials down to number 200. If you notice excessive noise or side-to-side movement of the vibrating unit during operation, you need to inspect the upper and lower guide bearings and replace them as necessary. If replacement is deemed necessary for one or more guide bearing assembly, it is recommended that you replace all 3 guide bearing assemblies at the same time. Please note that some steps in this process require the assistance of a second person. The Porta Screen has 3 guide bearing assemblies, each consisting of a housing and guide bushing. 2 upper guide bearings are mounted at opposite ends of the top frame crossbar, and the single lower guide bearing is mounted to the underside of the vibrating assembly. To inspect and replace the bearings of the Porta Screen, you first disconnect the unit from its power source, and then remove and set aside all Porta Screen trays and pan. Now, remove the top frame screws located on the side of the top cross frame. Next, remove the upper bearing housing mounting screws located on the top of the top cross frame, and then remove the top cross frame to expose the upper bearing housing assemblies. Examine the upper bearing housing assemblies and replace if needed. To remove the lower bearing, continue by removing all case covers. To remove the front and rear case covers with the upper case covers still attached, you first lower the unit closest to the floor by depressing the foot leveling tabs. This will bring the unit's feet close to level with the main frame. Once you remove the case covers, the unit will stand on its main frame. Caution should be taken when removing the case covers and balancing the unit on the main frame. Note that the digital timer is attached to the front case cover. Take caution when removing the front case cover as not to stretch the connecting wire between the timer and the unit. Now, remove the 6 screws of the front case cover and carefully set the case cover close to the unit as not to stretch the digital timer wiring. Next, remove the 6 screws of the rear case cover and set the rear case cover and screws aside. The unit should now be standing on its main frame. Please note that you may require the assistance of a second person when removing and reinstalling the connecting rod and vibrating assembly. Next, remove the connecting rod mounting bolt. The connecting rod mounting bolt consists of a bolt, nut, and 2 spacers that are fitted through the vibrating assembly and the connecting rod. Once the connecting rod mounting bolt is removed, lift the entire vibrating assembly up and off the unit and carefully set it aside. Next, remove the lower bearing housing mounting screws to detach the lower bearing housing assembly from the vibrating assembly. You now can examine and/or replace the lower bearing housing assembly. Once completed, reassemble the unit in reverse order by first screwing in the lower bearing housing assembly with its mounting screws. Next, carefully return the entire vibrating assembly onto the unit. Now, return the connecting rod mounting bolt. A second hand and/or shims may be needed to easily align the connecting rod mounting bolt with spacers, and the vibrating assembly. Next, return the case covers. Please note that since the unit is sitting on its main frame, you may need to tilt the unit so screw holes are easily aligned with the frame in front and rear covers. A second hand may be needed, or support the main frame with bracing. Loosely screw in each screw until all screws are in place. Then tighten all screws on the front and rear case covers. If not already done, return the 2 upper bearing housing assemblies and then the top frame crossbar. Make sure the upper bearing housing assemblies are in their correct orientation. Now return the upper bearing housing screws and then the top frame screws. For any questions about replacing the guide bearing assemblies for your Porta Screen or for any Gilson product, please contact your Gilson technical support team.